the RMS Titanic, a name synonymous with both opulence and tragedy. At the dawn of the 20th century, she was more than a ship, she was a symbol of human ingenuity. A floating palace, she embodied the ambition and confidence of an era. The Titanic was the largest moving object ever built. Her construction was a marvel. Thousands of workers labored tirelessly for over 2 years to bring her to life. She was designed to be the pinnacle of luxury. The Titanic boasted grand staircases, elegant dining saloons, and state-of-the-art amenities. No expense was spared in her creation. The Titanic represented the pinnacle of technological achievement. She was equipped with the latest advancements in shipbuilding. Her powerful engines promised unprecedented speed. Her watertight compartments were believed to make her virtually unsinkable. The world watched in awe as she prepared for her maiden voyage. The Titanic's launch was a global event. Thousands gathered to witness her enter the water. Excitement filled the air. This ship was more than just steel and rivets. She represented the dreams and aspirations of a generation. The Titanic was ready to embark on a journey that would change history forever. On April 10, 1912, the RMS Titanic embarked on her maiden voyage. She set sail from Southampton, England, bound for New York City. On board were over 2,200 souls. They came from all walks of life, drawn together by the allure of the Titanic and the promise of a new world. The passenger list was a microcosm of society. Millionaires and socialites rubbed shoulders with immigrants and laborers. Each carried their own dreams and aspirations. For some, the Titanic represented a chance for a better life. For others, it was an opportunity to experience luxury and adventure. The atmosphere on board was electric. Excitement filled the air as the ship steamed away from the harbor. Passengers marveled at the grandeur of their surroundings. They explored the ship's many decks, dined on exquisite cuisine, and enjoyed live music and entertainment. The first few days of the voyage were idyllic. The weather was calm and the sea was smooth. Passengers settled into their new routines. They made acquaintances, played games, and reveled in the opulence of their surroundings. The Titanic seemed to live up to her reputation as the millionaire's special. As the Titanic steamed westward, danger lurked beneath the surface. The North Atlantic was known for its treacherous icebergs. These massive chunks of ice posed a significant threat to even the largest ships. The Titanic's crew was aware of the danger. They had received multiple ice warnings from other ships in the area. On the night of April 14, 1912, the unthinkable happened. At 11:40 p.m., the Titanic struck an iceberg on her starboard side. The impact was subtle at first. Many passengers felt only a slight jolt, but the damage was severe. The iceberg had ripped a series of gashes in the ship's hull. Watertight compartments began flooding rapidly. The ship's designers had believed that these compartments would contain the damage and keep the Titanic afloat. However, the extent of the damage was far greater than they had anticipated. The Titanic was doomed. Panic began to spread as the gravity of the situation became clear. The ship's officers realized that they had only a limited amount of time to evacuate the passengers and crew. The order to abandon ship was given. As the Titanic began to sink, chaos and confusion reigned. The ship's crew struggled to maintain order. Passengers scrambled for lifeboats, but there were not enough to accommodate everyone on board. The Titanic had been equipped with enough lifeboats for only half of her passengers and crew. Acts of both incredible courage and profound sacrifice unfolded amidst the chaos. The ship's band continued to play, their music providing a sense of calm amidst the terror. Men stepped back to allow women and children to board the lifeboats first. The crew worked tirelessly to launch as many lifeboats as possible. As the Titanic sank lower in the water, the angle of the deck became increasingly steep. Passengers and crew clung desperately to the railings. The ship's lights flickered and died, plunging those on board into darkness. The cries of those in the water echoed through the night. At 2:20 a.m., the Titanic broke apart and sank beneath the waves. Over 1,500 people perished in the icy waters of the North Atlantic. The world watched in horror as news of the disaster spread. The sinking of the Titanic was not simply a tragic accident. It was a disaster compounded by a series of technical missteps and oversights. The ship, believed to be the pinnacle of modern engineering, was fatally flawed. These flaws, combined with human error, sealed the Titanic's fate. The ship's watertight compartments, designed to contain flooding, proved woefully inadequate. The bulkheads separating the compartments did not extend high enough. This allowed water to spill over from one compartment to the next, exacerbating the flooding. The Titanic's lack of sufficient lifeboats was a critical error. While complying with the regulations of the time, the ship had only enough lifeboats to accommodate roughly half of those on board. This miscalculation proved fatal. Additionally, the ship's speed has been a point of contention. The Titanic was traveling at near its maximum speed, even though it was navigating through an area known for icebergs. This speed, coupled with the late hour of the iceberg sighting, left little time to avoid the collision. Section 6. Echoes of Tragedy. The World Mourns. The news of the Titanic's sinking sent shockwaves around the world. What began as a journey filled with hope and promise ended in unimaginable tragedy. The world mourned the loss of so many lives, united in grief and disbelief. Newspaper headlines screamed the devastating news. People gathered around radios, eager for any scrap of information about the disaster. The scale of the tragedy was difficult to comprehend. The unsinkable Titanic had sunk, taking with her the lives of over 1,500 souls. The loss of life was staggering. Among the victims were prominent figures from business, politics, and the arts. Their deaths underscored the indiscriminate nature of the tragedy. The Titanic disaster did not discriminate between the rich and the poor, the famous and the unknown. The sinking of the Titanic had a profound impact on the world's psyche. It shattered the illusion of technological invincibility. The disaster served as a stark reminder of the power of nature and the fragility of human life. Section 7. A Legacy Forged in Tragedy. Maritime Safety Redefined. The sinking of the Titanic led to fundamental changes in maritime safety regulations. The tragedy exposed critical flaws in ship design and emergency procedures. The world vowed to learn from the disaster and prevent such a catastrophe from happening again. One of the most significant changes was the establishment of the International Ice Patrol. This organization, formed in the wake of the disaster, monitors iceberg activity in the North Atlantic. Its goal is to provide early warnings to ships, allowing them to avoid the fate of the Titanic. The disaster also led to stricter regulations for lifeboat capacity. The Titanic's lack of sufficient lifeboats was a glaring error that cost countless lives. New regulations mandated that ships carry enough lifeboats for all passengers and crew. The Titanic's sinking also spurred advancements in maritime communication. The disaster highlighted the need for improved communication systems between ships and shore. New technologies, such as radio telegraphy, were developed and implemented to ensure that distress signals could be sent and received more effectively. Section 8. The Titanic's Enduring Allure, Exploration and Remembrance. Even though over a century has passed since the Titanic sank beneath the waves, the ship and its story continue to captivate the world. The Titanic's wreck, located on the ocean floor, has become a site of both scientific exploration and somber remembrance. In 1985, a joint American-French expedition located the Titanic's wreck. Its discovery sparked renewed interest in the disaster and provided valuable insights into the events of that fateful night. Subsequent expeditions have documented the wreck in detail, capturing haunting images of the ship's remains. The artifacts recovered from the Titanic's debris field offer a poignant glimpse into the lives of those who sailed aboard her. From personal belongings to pieces of the ship's structure, these artifacts help to tell the human story of the Titanic. They serve as a reminder of the lives lost and the enduring legacy of the disaster. The Titanic story has been told and retold in countless books, films, and documentaries. Each generation finds new meaning in the tragedy, grappling with themes of human hubris, social injustice, and the capricious nature of fate. Section 9. Conclusion. A timeless tale of human triumph and tragedy. The RMS Titanic, once a symbol of human ingenuity and progress, now rests on the ocean floor, a haunting reminder of the fragility of life and the enduring power of the sea. The ship's story, forever etched in our collective memory, continues to resonate with people around the world. The Titanic's sinking was a tragedy of immense proportions. Over 1,500 lives were lost, each a unique and irreplaceable soul. The disaster exposed flaws in ship design, maritime regulations, and human judgment. It forced the world to confront the limits of its technological prowess. Yet, amidst the tragedy, stories of courage, selflessness, and compassion emerged. The band played on, providing comfort to those facing their final moments. Men sacrificed their own lives so that women and children might have a chance to survive. The human spirit, even in the face of unimaginable adversity, shone through. The legacy of the Titanic lives on, not only in the changes that were made to improve maritime safety, but also in the countless stories, films, and memorials that keep the memory of the ship and its passengers alive. The Titanic serves as a timeless reminder of both the triumphs and the tragedies of the human experience. It reminds us to approach innovation with caution, to value human life above all else, and to never forget the lessons learned from the past.